sometimes the people that are providing the accolades don't know nothing anyway. Sometimes you might be getting an accolade and it's like, bro, you're giving me this year, friend of friends, you're giving it to me this year. You don't mean know nothing this year. Like, you should have given me it 3 years ago when I was actually doing bits. Like, this year you're giving it to me. It's like, bro, like, all right, I'll take it. But yo, people, welcome back to the Bread and Butter podcast. You're here back with myself, Tayo, and E-Man in the building. Guys, as you can see, we've got a different setup for you. And once again, we're going to be providing you with a special guest. But let us know what you think about the setup in the comments. We're here in the building, same conversation, same vibe. If you're listening on audio, things aren't going to change. We're still going to be bringing you those same gems. But guys, we have a very, very special guest in the building. On this new setup, we've got David Olusegun in the building. Give it up for David, man. Come on. In the building, David has to clap for himself. That's what you guys do, you know. Make our guest clap for himself, you know.
My 10 people. Yeah, give it up like we're in the audience.
There's a lesson in there, boy. If you don't clap for yourself,
if you don't clap for yourself, I'm going to clap for you.
Come on. Gems already. But David, when we get people on the podcast, we always ask them, so what is your bread and butter? For those people that may not know you, what is it that you do? What is your bread and butter? You want to smile.
So yes, my name is David Olusegun. I run a business called CCV. Essentially what we do is we partner with celebrities to launch consumer packaged good brands. So anything in like food and beverages, personal care and beauty, or health and wellness. We have 2 brands that we've launched. One's Nala's Baby. We launched with Crept and Sasha.
Come on.
And which has done amazingly well. Thank you for all the support. And the other brand we launched was Sips, fizzy drink. A sparkling water with H, the rapper H.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. And I've got some questions that I want to ask. Yeah. And I think we got to break it down initially for the audience, innit? We need to go back and kind of understand where you started from, how you got here, innit? Because it didn't start off with that. Like, even like where the ideas came from, where the capital came from to build these businesses. Like, we kind of need to understand the journey, which is what Bread and Butter is all about. Yeah. So, where did it all begin for you? I don't know whether we want to go back to. Let's talk about your upbringing. What was your upbringing like growing up?
So again, typical Nigerian family.
David Olusegun. I already know the story. Let's skip it. Let's skip it. Forget it.
Everyone knows the same things. Why? You either could be 4 different you had 4 different roles. You could be either a doctor, lawyer, engineer, something in IT, something along those lines. But I decided not to go through one of the paths. I actually wanted to be a business person from young, and it was because I watched Apprentice actually. And I remember when I told my dad that I wanted to be a businessman. He was like, "What is that? What do you want to do?" I had no idea. I just liked the idea of selling, buying, the strategic behind it, all of that kind of thing. I didn't know what in business I wanted to do. I just wanted to be a business person.
So you saw Tim Campbell?
Yeah, so Tim Campbell, man.
Have you met him?
I've met him a couple of times.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Tim's an amazing guy. Big up Tim.
Representation's important, man. Especially seeing a black man on TV back then.
And winning.
Yeah, and winning. Yeah.
And winning.
Yeah. So for me, that was really, really important. And I think from that, it was I want to do something like what he's doing, to be honest. Didn't know what, but I wanted to get into business from a young age, to be honest.
So how did your education go? What were you like in school? Were you focused on business? Were you was you very academic? What was university like as well?
I can't say I was academic like that. I think I was very smart in terms of knowing what to do to get the results. And then also being around the right people, which obviously helps me in even group work. You know who the right people that you need to speak to be in your group, and you knew what things to say to help them do that. So I think I've been very good in terms of I wouldn't say manipulating. Strategizing
the
right way. Yeah. To be honest,
I know exactly what you mean, which is really, really interesting.
What about your kind of relationship with money? What was that like growing up? How was you with money? Was money in your household? Did you have a lot? Was it a struggle? Was it money don't grow on trees? What was the kind of language?
I was never poor. I didn't have things poor. We grew up in a council flat, and then luckily enough, the council moved us to a 3-bed maisonette. So we had room to do stuff, and our parents provided food and all of that kind of thing. But I wasn't well off, so you didn't have loads of money. Even pocket money or whatever, I would get £2 a week. And then I had to lunch money as well. I had to save money so that at the end of the day you can get chicken and chips, kind of thing. So I knew in terms of saving money to get a reward kind of thing. But I wasn't huge amount. I think when money started to come is like when you had EMAs in college. Boy.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, oh, £30 a week just to go to college.
Crazy time.
That was interesting. And then also when you went to uni, I think that's when your eyes open, because when you see thousands of pounds in your bank, you're like, wait, huh? But I won't lie to you, I wasn't good at money, like in university. I think because I didn't have loads like excess money, I think having money in uni, I just splurged it a lot, to be honest. Like I got a nice car very early on.
What did you get?
I had a Peugeot 206cc.
Convertible.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna tell me. One of those cars, I remember I keep on telling you, I used to scheme on a Fiat Stilo. I wanted that. What was the other? There was whatever Renault that was.
Yeah, the Renault.
Yeah.
Bro,
one of those cars,
I was stupid. But I think for me it was like, I don't know, man. I think I've always wanted to be someone that people recognize, kind of thing. And I think I did it wrong in uni, because my thing was like, if you have a nice car, especially like a convertible, because I had no one had like a convertible like that. So everyone knew, like when I was around, even when I went to my friends' uni, had a convertible, everyone was like, oh right, who's this guy, whatever. So I think I used that as a tool to like be like recognized or to be known, kind of thing. But later down the line you realise doesn't really mean much, to be honest. But I think in that I had to like go through that to like really understand like what money is.
It's funny as well how you look at life, because I feel like I'm someone who looks at life very glass half full, innit?
Yeah.
And I would say it's a good thing that you did that in university.
Yeah.
Because it's an early age. You're only risking it on a Peugeot 206cc. Like some people get to a point where they've got a family and then they decide they want to do that.
Oh yeah, true.
At like 35 years old, and now they're doing stuff like getting the Rolls Royce, and it's harming them basically because they want to. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think that you always got to look at those things with a pinch of salt and say that it's a lesson and you paid for it, but it brought you where you are today.
No, but I love that, because I think even like when I think about myself, like I feel like I've always tried to use humor in life, and it's been a crutch. Like as in, like you're saying, if you got a certain car or you almost use that as that's you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what becomes a problem, because as you get older, if you then lose that, you feel like you lost your identity. Who are you? Like I've always been the funny guy, and then I had to realize that, bro, you have to bring more to the table than just making people laugh. Like it's great that you can do that, but what else can you do? Because when you're in corporate, not everybody want to laugh. Like, can you be serious? Like, can you get the deal done? Like, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what's funny about that is I think that's because at 25 everyone has like a quarter life. It's quarter life crisis, and I think for me that was why I had that crisis, because I think in uni I was the person who did the vote of thanks speech, and then I was like one of the 100 people, like young powerful leaders.
What you did?
I went to Kingston. Okay. So I was one of the people who was like nominated as a bright student kind of thing. So I was always getting accolades in uni and before that, and everyone was like, oh David, whatever. When you go into the real world, you realise that things are not working as much as you want it to work. And I think at 25, don't know why that age is, but at 25 when it was like trying to do stuff and things weren't like working, or I was being someone's like, if I have a target, I would usually like reach that target or hit that target. But at that moment in my life, I was hitting no targets, nothing was working. And I think my identity was all based on, if I get accolades or someone praises me, whatever, and I wasn't getting that. And for me, it was like similar what you were saying, is like, I was like, wow, like, why am I even here? Like, what is my purpose anymore? If I'm not getting the accolades that helped me. But again, through that, it was like, these are like byproducts of doing stuff, but they're not your identity. And I had to take myself away from the accolades and away from the things. Like, even when I get accolades now, like, it's good, but I have to always remind myself that is not my identity. And the more I take myself out of those kind of things, the more I know like who I am, rather than these things being my identity, to be honest, because it's a dangerous slope, man.
Dangerous slope, man. Sometimes the people that are providing the accolades don't know nothing anyway. Sometimes you might be getting an accolade and it's like, bro, you're giving me this year, friend of friends, you're giving it to me this year. You don't mean know nothing this year. Like, you should have given me to 3 years ago when I was actually doing bits. Like, this year you're giving it to me. It's like, bro, like, all right, I'll take it. But
see it, look. See it when certain men win awards and they're just like, yeah, thanks, but do you know what I mean? But when you was grinding and you wanted to win, you didn't win. You didn't come when you.
So I want to give it to you when you're the finished product. They won't see the journey before. I wanted to ask as well, in before uni and during uni, did you ever work any part-time jobs?
Yeah, so like again, I feel like God has put me in different things. So I used to be one of those people like in train stations that would be asking for money. One of the and I did also the ones where, you know, when your people call people to get the free photo shoots. And I think obviously I hated the job, but as you get older, you like look retrospectively, and you look like, oh, like those are the things where character building, because people would be telling you, like no. All of this, but you have to like try and learn how to like again speak to people, like how to charm people, and also just help them like understand what you're doing, kind of things, and just even learn about rejection, rejection.
Bro, can I say something? Yeah, sales is sometimes seen as a dirty word. Sales is one of the best skills you can have in this life. It's insane. And it's not about actually selling something. It's about understanding people. You're mentioning the charm. And I understand why you say that the selling at the train station gave you that as well, because you're expecting a no. So you're working in minus already. They're going to say, before you get any sale, they're going to start with no. They're going to try to walk past you. So I feel like a lot of those things are character building.
People you'll be talking to them, not paying you no attention. Like, it's humbling. But like I said, I think sales, like, for kids or whatever, if you want to start a job, I would just do that, because the amount of things that you learn about yourself, learn about rejection, all of that kind of things, you learn from stuff like that, to be honest.
I think sales is so important. Like when I was a cashier, bruv, like, man, I just want to pay their check-in or pay their money and leave. And you're out here trying to say, do you want to upgrade? Do you want to change your account? Do you want a credit card? Bro, and I'm like, listen, this is my lunch break. I've got 1 hour, I have to wait 20 minutes to pay this check-in. I don't want to talk to you. Like, and you're trying to sell it, and it's like, it's one of them things where, like, but you realize that people are normal. Like, people are, like, doing themselves roles, you realize that you can see a man, like, I remember sometimes you see someone come and, man, he's hench. Man's got his, like, man, and you're thinking, man's looking angry, and you just say something, man's attitude just changed completely. And you realize that no matter how people present themselves, they're all human. And that is so important, because then when you go into meetings, when you guys sit down with your boss or whatever, when you're in corporate, you realize you're just a human, just like me. Do you know what I mean? And I just need to connect with you on a human level. And sometimes, like, even just the greeting, you saying like, how's your day going? Like, no one's asked them that question all day. And they've got mad stuff to say. Like, and so it's just understanding that sales gives you that. And like you said, rejection, the understanding that, okay, I'm not defined by your no. Like, you said no to me, but I know it's a numbers game. I know if I ask this question 25 times, at least once I'm going to get a yes. So I just need to find 25 people each time, and I know I'm going to get a sell. Do you understand? So the more people I can ask, the more quicker I get the no's out of the way, the quicker I get to a yes.
Go for it.
I was just going to say, that's something I've been saying for time now. The no's are necessary.
100%.
It's part of the game. 100%. You need the no's to get to the yes. What you're going to say, bro?
I was going to say that even like after the no's, is like, for some reason, I don't know why it always happens, like when you start getting a yes, it's like a momentum starts going, you start getting it. So like the no's, I feel like are important, because for me it was always like, okay, because I'm very like methodical when I think, so I'm like, okay, why did they say no? Do I need to change my approach? How do I say hello? Like all of those kind of things, I'm like, how do I refine my approach to it to get to the yes? And I think even that's helped me, even because like now we've raised money for some of our brands, a lot of investors say no, but I always go, okay, cool, how can we pitch that different? Do research on an investor and find out like what's going to make them tick, kind of thing. So it's all of those kind of things that I think has helped me like in life and in work, to be honest.
And on a smaller scale, to what Iman said, it's funny because when you do sales, you start noticing the points where people are interested. Iman's getting bad notes. But when someone says that, so like, what credit card you get with it? You know what you're saying? That's when you know you got them. Come to the office, let's go. Look, let me show you. You know you start getting up your thing. Let me show you the leaflet.
It's so important, again, in business, because that's the thing. Like now that I run my own company, because I understood that, I understand that how that works in business as well. The fact that, okay, it's a numbers game, so you've got to make it work. So it's so important. But you wanted to be a businessman, so when you finished uni, did you touch corporate or did you go straight into business?
I went into corporate. Luckily, again, so God has designed my life. But basically, the first job I had out of uni was working at MTV. So Viacom.
Sick.
So
all the corporate.
I know. Because I was never going to do like corporate. I was never going to do like in a bank or whatever. So worked at Viacom, and Viacom's got like MTV, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, all of that kind of things.
What was you doing there?
So again, that's why I said everything's like ordained. Basically, I was working in I didn't even know what this department was called, but the department was called Consumer Products. And essentially what we do is, obviously a lot of people know Viacom and their channels because of the TV shows. But you realise a lot of their money is made from the products that they sell. So like bags, pencil cases, etc. So essentially,
Must be bashing when you think about it.
they are
Nickelodeon pencil case and them things there.
billions and billions of dollars.
crazy.
I think about the product placement,
Bro.
in all their shows. Like,
Yeah.
So basically my role was to like go out and find like licensees that would essentially go, I want to create a pencil case, but I want to put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on that, or SpongeBob on that, basically, and do it like across the country. So these people were making money. So essentially go out and find licensees who would do that, and then also policing them. Because some partners would just do a madness on like the logo placement or stuff like that. So we had to make sure our brands were still like aligned with everything else we do around the world. But essentially, going and finding people to do products for that, to be honest.
how did you feel being in corporate? Because one of the things I get with young people, like that want to be entrepreneurs or whatever, the corporate thing for them is just, I don't want to have a job, I want to do. But it's like, why do you feel like, or do you feel like corporate is an important step to take before starting business?
So important, because you go out of uni and you don't even know how to run a meeting properly. It's not just you sitting there. It's like, what's the agenda, the minutes, like, what's the follow-up, all of those kind of things, like, so important corporate, or how you just do, like, simple things, to be honest, are, like, for me, it's so, like, you don't learn that from, like, university or not working. Even, like, managing people, like, all of those kind of things I think is important. And then, again, I feel like this has helped again, so, like, when you're raising money, when you put like, oh, like, what's this guy done? It's always good to have like, oh, he's worked at this place and that place and that place.
Absolutely.
Before you go into it. And again, like, at the end of the day, you're learning off someone else's money when you work for another person. So you can make all the mistakes, do all of that kind of thing. And then also networking. Like, the amount of people you can meet at like thing that could help you later on or whatever are like so important. So it's not for everyone, but if you can, I would say like work and figure it out like we want to try and do, especially if it's an industry you want to work in. Learn what you can learn, and then if you want to go off, do your thing, then do that.
I think that's such an important message. For the young people that have graduated from uni and they're working out what they want to do, because I know a lot of them want to be entrepreneurs, but stuff like that can show them the benefits that they can get from the corporate world. But B, it can help a lot of people that are in corporate right now. Like that message alone can actually make them go into work the next day and change how they're thinking about their time there. Because you know, sometimes in your corporate world you feel like you're wasting your time and so on and so forth, but just hearing that, knowing that, do you know what, I'm actually here learning for free, I can leverage this big company at a later date, and I'm seeing how business is done, it can help people when they're thinking about doing their business as well.
100% to be honest, 100%, man. You can learn a lot from corporate, to be honest. So I wouldn't like say no to it. And again, probably I'm very strategic in terms of what I want to do. So it was like, okay, I want to build a business, but what things do I need to learn or know? So basically, every time I would incorporate, I would go into it, like, I'm trying to learn as much as possible so that when I do leave, I have all of these skills and knowledge and network already. I didn't just go into thinking, oh, I'm just going to be in a dead-end job, whatever. And I think with Viacom, I had amazing managers, man. Like, I would ask questions about, how do you do this, how do you do that? They would just, like, give it to me. And I think, especially when you've got a good manager, they want to, like, teach people. Like, I think it's even, like, an ego thing, like, someone's asking you for your knowledge kind of thing. So even in that kind of thing, like asking people for help, all of that kind of thing, I think is important when you are in that corporate like environment, to be honest.
I think what I'm taking from you is culture, right? It's like, actually, like you said, you got a job, but you got a job in an environment that's still engaging, that's still it's a company that's still creative, a company that's still thinking outside the box. It allows you to be your best version of yourself. So I think that's really important to think about. Don't just go and get any job. Get a job that's
strategic.
Exactly. Be strategic. Be intentional about the job that you're trying to get. But in regards to that, so I'm saying this for a young person out there. Let's say there's a job that's paying 22k, but it's more in line with what you might want to do in the future compared to a job that's paying 35. Would you say to a young person they should take because they want to be going to business, they're better off doing something that's more linked to what they want to do in the future? Or should they get that instant money that they want to make right now? What would you say? If it was you, when you're coming out?
For you.
So this is a hard one because obviously everyone's got their own different backgrounds, everyone's got their own costs, to be honest. But if that wasn't an issue, for me, it's always about, especially when you're young, about learning, because you can always make more money. When you grow up. Like, for me, it's about learning, it's about having the know-how, having the contacts, having people that you probably can use like later down the line. Because again, like, there's so many people I've called like 5 years ago that I was just like, like we did something before, and I'll call them up and they've helped me do something later on. So for me, if money wasn't an issue there, then yeah, I would take the 22k, man, because you're young, man. You can make more money when you get older, to be honest. And the thing you learn is like once you know people and know how, it's easy to make money, man.
And what was it like when you started making money with regards to your parents? Did they leave you? Did you have to start contributing to the house? What was it like for you in that regard?
You know what? I think my parents were good, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think there was one moment where I was like, I did the corporate thing and I was going to entrepreneur, and obviously it's not always easy. And my mum was like, "I'll pay for your like car insurance and stuff like that."
Oh, I love that.
So for a little bit, so I think she was very supportive. I think my dad was always like rigid, but I think he's just like my mum convinced him that no, like there's something with David, like I believe in him. So she did even something like little like paying my car insurance for me was important because it had that safety net, and it wasn't a thing where they were asking, oh, you need to pay rent or anything like that. So I think in terms of creating an environment for me to flourish, 100% did it. And obviously now they're like, oh yeah, it was worth it. It was worth. So now I give them money. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm gonna ask 3 questions, right? So the first is, at any one point at MTV Viacom, did you think to yourself that, do you know what? Even though I love the idea of being a businessman, this is working for me. This is cushy. Did you ever cross your mind that, do you know what, I'm just going to do the corporate thing? Or you was...
Nah, because I'm always someone that's always wanted to move, like, to keep going, man. I'm not someone who just wants to stay. There was obviously people there who's like, and for me, I think differently, but people were there for like 20 years, 25 years. And in my head, I'm like, you're basically been there longer than how old I am, my age. So it's like, it didn't make sense to me. My thing is like, I'm always like trying to like move and improve. And I think, because I had, in my head, it was always like, I want to create a business. There was nowhere in my head where I was like, oh, I'm just want to just like take the safe route out and the money, to be honest. So The
second question is, do you remember how much you came into MTV Viacom at?
I think it was like mid-20s. I can't remember. Yeah, mid-20s, I think,
Do you remember what you left at? And how long you were there for? I'm comfortable asking because he's making way more than that now, isn't it? So this is pocket change.
It was 2-3 years. I think it was like going towards the high 20s.
Okay.
Maybe 27, 28.
That's so 27, 28. Yeah. So that's insane that you're at a job where you're earning 27, 28, and you've built out contacts that are helping your businesses at a later date. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's it just goes to show that the salary that you're on, you can still get loads of value that. Maybe in some cases worth more than the salary that you're getting. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So yes, I think because I'm quite like ambitious, and sometimes the way I think about certain things, I'm just like outrageous kind of thing. In my head, it was always like, oh, you're gonna make millions anyway, so this amount is only to like keep you for now, but get what you need to get out of it, and then keep going, to be honest. So
one of my good friends, he said something similar to what you just mentioned, didn't it? We was at university. And he was like, bro, I'm already a millionaire, bro. Up here, I'm a millionaire. And I remember I wasn't at his level at that point. I used to feel like, bro, you're bugging a little bit. But I fully get what he was saying, bro. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because it's like you set your eyes on what you want to do, and you know you're gonna get there, innit? It's just a matter of time and how you're gonna get there, basically. So what was next after MTV?
So after MTV, I worked at a sports agency called NBA, and it was so crazy how I even got the job, basically. So I saw this guy who was doing his thing, and I just reached him out on Twitter. So I said to him like, oh, like, I love what you're doing, here's my CV, all of that kind of thing. Obviously no reply. But me, I was, again, sales thing, I was just keeping persistent. I'm someone who's persistent. Like, even if you don't reply to me, I'm going to keep replying. Yeah. So I think I replied to him 3 times.
So I'm going to jump in. Because this is something that I've been saying. Shame is killing our people. Shame. Bro, you're the one that wants to get paid more. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You're the one that wants the opportunity.
You want the opportunity.
And you're letting shame stop you, bro. Message 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Who even knows? He's not that man's gonna now say, right, can you believe this guy messaged me 3 times? Man's not even saying nothing. So it's only to yourself.
And it's so interesting as well, because there's people that are like senior vice presidents in sales and stuff like that. And they're getting aired as well because they're in sales and they understand the name of the game. They're multi-millionaires and they're even emailing people and getting aired. So you can't be saying that you've got shame at this point and you don't want to double message someone.
Ego, man. Everyone's like, oh, I sent a message, you can't even reply to me. What do you think? Who do you think he is? For me, boy, at the end of the day, it's like, if I want to get somewhere, I'm going to do what I can to get there, to be honest.
Instead of who do they think they are, it's who do I think I want to be? You know what I'm trying to say? That's how you got to be thinking about it. You got to think about yourself and not the other person. But I mentioned it 4 times, whatever. And then again, I was just thinking like, again, it's like people. So I tried to like understand people, like human psychology, and I was like,
So someone was like, you know what? If I message him on Sunday, he's probably gonna be less busy. He might just be looking for his phone, whatever. So I messaged him on Sunday again, and then he replied. And then the first thing he said, again, you always have to be ready. He was like, oh, okay, it's crazy, yeah. I wouldn't do that now, but basically he said it was like 9 p.m. whatever. He was like, oh, I'm going to Playboy Club in Mayfair. I don't even know where that is. I did Google search of it, whatever. And I was like, wait, I hope this is not like a strip club or nothing like that. So I did it. I was like, oh, it was a membership club. So I don't think I've been to Mayfair a couple of times, but I was like, right, Mayfair. So I went there. I think drove my car. I think it was like 9 p.m. like late. Obviously a guy I've never met in person, but I was just like, you know what, let me just go. So I went there, met him, and then we just had a conversation, to be honest. And again, I think for him, he opened my eyes, because even though I was at MTV, things were good. It was like seeing a black man like in this type of like wealth. And then in Playboy Club, it was just like, obviously there's bunnies, but it's nothing like seedy or nothing like that. Basically, it's just all of these like rich people doing things. So I went, I was like, wow, is this the like environment people are in, especially a black person? Because obviously even in MTV, all the people who were doing well were like white, middle-aged men, basically. So seeing a black man doing the thing, I was like, rah, no. Like, he helped me open my eyes to like, if he can do it, then I can do it. And then, I was working for him for a couple of years, like working with like different like footballers and doing like brand partnership deals, sponsorship deals, and all of that kind of things. And I think for him, and being in that environment, again, being with like a lot of like prominent like black players like Rio, and like Robinho, all of those kind of things, I think again it helps me understand that black people do make money. Like, and not just like okay man, like serious like money. Again, I think stuff like that opened my eyes to like my world is bigger than my postcode.
Yes.
Trust me. You know what it reminds me of? Like, I had that same situation. So I was in corporate, and then I saw this guy looking for a financial advisor. So I've just sent my CV, said come for an interview, and this one Bangladeshi guy with the same age, our birthdays are 2 days apart. We're talking. He's like, yeah, come work with me. And like, he's driving a Lambo. He's told me to come in the Lambo. If I tell you how I squeezed into the Lambo, like, when I've come out, cramped, my whole belly cramped up. Like, I've cramped everything. So I've got in the Lambo with him, so I've worked in his company. When I've realised that man's dyslexic, man can't spell, man can't, but he understands business. And it made me realise that sometimes we think that these men are millionaires or whatever because they're the smartest people in the room. They've just created a strategy. Bro, it got to the point, my man was buying other companies. So he had a mortgage firm. And so he would just see that mortgage firm successful. I'm just gonna buy that mortgage firm. And so he would just leverage money from this one to put a deposit, get a business loan, buy that one. Now he owns it. Now he's just making more money. And then he just amplify. And he knew how to create websites. He had multiple websites. So then he said, look, I've got a mortgage firm. I need an estate agency. So I got a estate agency. I need a solicitors. Got a solicitors. Then he bought more solicitors. Bro, this guy, on his email it says, please excuse the typos. Because man can't, when you read his email, you've got to breathe. Like,
car crash.
Man's like, what is...
just go back to the beginning.
You have to go like...
It just sends you back to the beginning, like...
What is man trying to say?
You know what, yeah? I'm not going to lie. Some of the richest people I know, yeah, if you see their emails, they can't even put caps on it.
No commas, no full stop, just writing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's mad.
Straight.
It's
But
mad,
this guy is giving out opportunities, and that was when I realised that, right, I can do this business thing.
Yeah.
Like, but again, until I see someone, an ethnic minority, like, man from a similar background to me, do it, then I was like, okay, it's possible. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I think what you're saying is so important. Sometimes, like, especially if you only do corporate, you feel like, oh yeah, I'm never going to get to the top. Do you know what I mean? Because these things have been established years and years ago.
Before you even started.
Before you understand. Whereas when you meet someone, like you said, it's like, oh, okay, he's put this system in, he started here. Okay, I can do that. I can start off small and build it up. You don't need a big team to begin with. So,
no, 100%, man.
It's interesting that you guys say that as well, because I found that, I think that it also speaks to why we need to be very intentional and very visible with what we do as well.
100%,
because I'm sure that we all remember these things, innit?
100%.
And I've got a lot of business examples like that, but I remember there was even one with relationships. Like when I was working at, I think JP Morgan, when I was quite young, there was a guy that was like 2 corporate titles above me, innit? He was a married guy, innit? And he used to tell stories about how him and all these other married brethren went to like Jamaica and they all got jet skis and like they got lost on a jet ski. And I remember it's a simple story, yeah, but I remember listening to that and I was like, so marriage can be fun. And I swear, that stuck with me. It literally stuck with me. And that's why I think that representation is important.
So you thought marriage was prison?
No, I didn't think it was prison, but you need that kind of example. Like you didn't think that all black people didn't have money in it. But when you saw the example of my man, it's like, it's tangible. He wasn't doing nothing special, bro.
No,
I'm right in saying that.
life.
He wasn't doing it. He just went to the club and he was with these other people. He wasn't doing nothing special, but it imprints in your life at that one point, and you don't know when it's gonna come, but it's like, this is my snapshot of that. Raw. So you can be the man, basically. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think those things are super important. It encourages all of us and everybody else to do well to be visible, man.